Now let's look at the exploration cycle. Exploration cycle. We start from reconnaissance, go through target generation, drilling, source, resource estimation, feasibility, feasibility study, and mining. Reconnaissance, that is, in short, we call it REC. It is an initial visit to the site or a familiarization of ourselves to the site. We first of all have to visit the site where we are going to perform our exploration to familiarize ourselves. So once we are there, we begin to know how to plan a project. We don't want to start a project without any planning. And the best way to plan well is to visit the site, a physical visit to the site. Get to have a preview of how the site looks like. If maybe where you put your access road, where you hit your coordinates, or if you have pillars, where you put them, and where you put your grid controls. Okay, so these are the things we do in the first stage, which is the reconnaissance in exploration. The second one is the target generation. So you go into this one by one once we are going down. The target generation, that is on the land or on the concession. Where should we focus our attention the most? Where should we focus our attention the most? That is the area where mineralization is high, the area of higher mineralization. So that will be the area we should focus our attention the most. And the second one will be, the third one will be the drilling. That's where we engage in exploration drilling. And after exploration drilling, we obtain samples, which is for taking the lab for analysis. It is this information we obtain from the drilling that we use to generate a block model. And the block model is then used for mineral resource estimation. When we get our mineral resource estimation, that is, we are able to determine how much we can get when we mine this particular deposit. Okay? Then we will compare the revenue with our expenses, how much we need to invest or to spend in order to mine the deposit. At the end of the day, we will subtract the expenses from our income, then the remaining will be our profit. Okay, so if the profit is the remainder is positive, then it means that you are gaining profit. But if the remainder is negative, it means that you are gaining, you are running at a loss. And by all means, as a mining engineer or an investor, you don't want to enter into a business project and run at a loss. So if it is negative, that means that even though there is mineral within the deposit, but you cannot go ahead and mine, because when you do, you run at a loss. Okay, but when it is positive, then it means that you have been given the green light to go ahead and engage in mining and gain some profit out of it. And all these things is based on the prevailing economic parameters. You have to look at the price of commodity, be able to, and the price of commodity, the cost of mining, the cost of processing, and all these things to be able to make a decisive decision. I hope you are following. Then we have to also know that in this process, success is not guaranteed. It's not a guarantee that once we have gone through this entire process, then we are going to be successful. Okay, it is the results that we obtain from the analysis we do, the drilling samples that we take it to the lab and make some analysis. And the results that will determine whether we have been successful or not. Now let's look at factors influencing exploration activity. Factors influencing the exploration activity. Commodity prices. At the time that you are engaging in the exploration, what is the price of commodity? And sometimes when the price of commodity is high, that is the price of gold, the price of silver, it's time. People get this idea that this is the time for us to do more exploration because they feel that when they are able to explore and get some mineral and sell, they will get more money. So the price of commodity can actually stimulate people to invest more in exploration programs. And at a time where the price is low, that means that the cost of operation is going to be low. Because if the price of gold is falling, that means that the cost of drilling and all those things must also decrease. Okay, so at that time, some companies can decide, okay, this is the time for us to engage in exploration. Because at this time, the price of commodity has come low. So the cost of operation must also be lower. That is just the decision of the company. Another company will say that, okay, when the price is high, can go in for exploration because maybe when we are able to explore and we identify the presence of mineral, maybe gold, silver, or anything. That means that this is the time for us to also engage in mining, then change some uh, commodities for selling on the market. Okay. So, but it is best for you to engage in exploration when the price of commodity is lower. Because when the price of commodity is lower, then it means that the cost of operation will be lower. So that means that you are going to spend less cost in operation compared to when the prices are high. The economic conditions, global economic conditions can significantly impact exploration investment. Economic downturns often lead to reduced exploration budgets. So when globally the economic conditions uh, are not favorable, then people tend to shun away from exploration investment. We see that investors who are supposed to maybe come and invest in the project begin to turn it down because maybe at that moment they're economically not in good shape to invest in such a project because as we all know, mining is a high risk venture. And when you are entering into it, you need to be very confident or you have to be very sure that this is the time you want to enter. Okay, so you need to do your feasibility studies to ensure that you are not going to run at a loss. And geopolitical stability. When you are going to invest in money in any country, then you need to do your studies properly. In a country whereby there is instability, there is coup, there is war in such a country, you don't want to go in such a country and invest your huge capital in mining. Reason is mining is uh, high risk venture and it is always in the spotlight. Any government always has his eye on a mining project. So when you're going to invest your money in a country that is already in turmoil, there is already misunderstanding and a lot of promotions in such a country, you don't want to enter into such an investment. Okay? So there must be geopolitical stability. The country must be peaceful before you want to enter into such a project. Technological advancement. New technologies such as advanced geophysical techniques, improved drilling methods, and data analytics can lead to more efficient and effective exploration. When we started the history of exploration, we learned that from the beginning they used to do manual digging. That means that no matter how much you invest in such a project, it will not be effective. You have to employ a lot of people to just to dig one small hole. And it will take a lot of money, it will take a lot of effort, it will take a lot of time. But with the advent of new technologies on board, it has made the process easier. Okay, so in case we want to look at the pit, a mining pit, how many human beings can dig manually, can dig a very huge mining pit? Not many. But with the technology we are using, the drilling and blasting, the use of excavators, the use of loaders, the use of trucks has made it even more easier. I was in Precious Mine. When I got there, I realized that within a space of 12 years, they have been able to mine mine 5 pits and complete it. And these pits are huge pits. Within a space of 12 years, we completed, we, we started mining about 5 pits and we closed it. So that means that the life of the pit has ended. Okay. And as at the time I was there was also 3 other pits which were active and they were about to close it down because the resource within the pit is over. My question is, if it was manual work, would they have been able to achieve such an effort? No, because manually you can't achieve such a feat. It will only take technology. So with the advent of technology, our work has been made more easier. And even the use of softwares to do analysis, the kind that human beings will suffer to do, but the softwares can easily do analysis for you and you can make decisive decisions. A very good decision on the mind. The next one is environmental regulations. Environmental regulations is one key that affect our that have influence on exploration activity. Increasing stringent environmental regulations are driving the industry to adopt more sustainable and responsible exploration practices. Okay, so it's very important because there have been a lot of environmental concerns. So one, there's a mining project, exploration project going on. Then there has Ghana government has also put in place the environmental agency that also bring out regulations as to any mining project. They need to follow those environmental regulations. Practices. Okay. That it can be that you can come across a concession that is highly graded. The deposit is very high, but environmentally it might not be conducive for us to do the mining in that area. Maybe there is a water body, a stream that is just within that vicinity. When you start mining, you end up polluting the water body. So what do you do? The environmental guys can decide, okay, because we want to preserve the life of this water body, we will not allow you to continue with your project. And that is final. You cannot do anything about it. Okay. And even in mining, anytime you go wrong against the environment, and these guys get to hear that the this mining company has done this against the environment, they can easily shut down the company. And so it's very, very important that we take these things into consideration. And it's actually affecting and having a lot of influence on exploration activity. The next one is social licenses to operate. Any mining project within any vicinity, they must ensure that they have a social license. When I say social license, it means that you having a very good relationship with the community guys, community that is within that mining vicinity. Because if you don't have a good relationship with them, these people can make your operation very difficult. Okay. So, like in Ghana, we have seen several occasions that is going on within the country. Recently, in Obuasi, where the indigenous felt that the company is not helping them much enough. They decided to enter into the mine. They jumped the fence, enter into mine. They began destroying things. At the end of the day, the company brought in soldiers who started firing, and there were losses of life. Okay. When this thing happened, it only actually goes against the company because On your side, there has been killings. On your side, there has been this. It means that you are not having a very good relationship with the community. The community, they feel that, okay, this is our land, and there is the land which we feed on. So if a mining company has come to do a business on the land, that means that they have to help us. So you have to draw a plan on how you are going to develop the community, or how you are going to help them in one way or the other. But if you don't have uh, any plan for them, and they see that you are not helping them anymore, any way or anyhow, then there will be a banter between the community and also the company. We don't want that. We want to have a very good reputation. So very, very important. And it is having a lot of influence on exploration activity. There are some times when you go and try and perform some exploration activity in a certain area, and the community guys themselves can even stop you. Yeah, they can stop you. Because these guys are not arguing with law. Some of them, they are a lot of uh, not much educated people. All they want is what they will get to do to survive. Okay, so it is up to you to make a very good uh, arrangement with them, avoid any misunderstanding. And climatic change can actually affect the exploration process. When it begins to rain, drilling becomes difficult. It is difficult to perform exploration drilling in flooded area, because we have uh, a lot of contamination within the soil sample. So the weather patterns very, very important in temperate zone where it snows a lot and you are doing surface mining. You should surely know that it's going to affect your operation. Sometimes you need to wait for the snow to go off before you can continue. And even in Ghana here, when during raining season time, it becomes difficult for mining operations to go on when you are doing surface mining. Because always you have to ensure that uh, the pit is being dewatered. You don't want the water to flood the level of the bench. Okay, so always that is why we have the watering pattern. That their main focus is to ensure that the pit has been dewatered. So the water within the sun has been drained out of the pit.